So you see, like, this is all just life. This is how you are alive right now. This is the importance of dissected dialect. You can literally see how nothing's a coincidence. And when you get deep in that, everything that I'm saying makes even more sense. Like, every letter, based on the words and how I want to express myself, it makes so much more sense when you can see the code of what each letter means. And it's really awesome because then we can see in language, based on all of our own individual perspectives as spirits, when we come together, we can break things down in totally different ways based on our individuality. Like, it takes me as an individual, as Hermes Trismegistus, as the trippy, tripsy, psychedelic, psychopomp, Chase Clarence Calloway, the symmetry, to come in and dissect the dialect and create this series in this way. So now everyone with all of your individual perspectives can build upon it, dissect it even deeper, and we can just grow. That's literally how nature works. This is how all trees grow. This is how all planets get built. This is how your cells build your body. This is how we build anything. This is how we branch out. So this is the point of the STU, the study, the ST ability, to take your serpent, to take your ability to project out your imagination and connect with yourself on that. So now you create you. That's literally boom. Like, you are you taking your ability to project and connecting with that. And now that becomes a loop. And that's the 3. That's the chi. So now that's your airy atmosphere. That you, as the bird, because the you is the bird, you are now able to fly out of your tree. And now here we are in the universe, where all of us as spirits are using our bird minds to actually fly out of our spaces and then anchor in these bodies. Because that's what it looks like to be in this body, where this body is being animated by your mind, but your mind is not in this location. Like, your mind is projecting into this body. You can take your mind out of this body and go back to your own space. I love to do that. I do that a good amount. It's like the best feeling ever. Literally, actually the best feeling in the universe is separating your mind from your body and going back to your own space. Because guess what? That's what's going to happen if you die. But if you're scared of doing that, then that means the life and reality that you're living at the moment is a reflection of something you're running from. And the fact that you're running from it means that it's only getting worse, because guess what? You're being a snake. You're projecting your problems onto others instead of connecting with yourself more deeply and creating some kind of structure that actually supports your ability to connect with others. So that's nature. This is true Hermeticism right here. True Simicism. You taking your snake, wrapping it in your own waters. That's you becoming the Ouroboros. And now you cultivate life from here. And then your snake is wrapping around the life and the plants that you're creating. You're now your own somatic symmetry simulation. AKA, you have tripled your C. Welcome to Always the Saying Academy. Because this wisdom is wild. And you truly do deserve it. I love you. It's so amazing. I'm giving this to you for free. Because, hey, that's nature. Alright, that's what it is to be indigenous. I'm naturally connecting with myself, and it naturally is this valuable. I'm not projecting out, trying to connect with anyone else. This podcast, me expressing myself, is me naturally doing the Ouroboros. This is me turning into the you. That's the point of the you. This is why the you bends. It's reminding you that you are bending in on yourself as a snake to create your T repeatedly. And now you're able to create your mind based on how you project out your light, project out your imagination, your desire to express your nothingness. And by not projecting it too far, but turning it into a circle, you now got your tree of life, you got your rings, you got your simulation, everything, all that. Toroid, it's lit. It's beautiful. Like, I love it. I love this. It's nature. It's so awesome. And then from there, that's where you create your bird, your mind, that can fly. And now your bird can travel to other trees. So now other spirits who have cultivated and taken their snake, other spirits who have taken their S and wrapped it around their tea, their tree repeatedly. They also have gardens that your bird can now land in. And now you as a spirit can use your tree to fly through the universe and communicate with other birds. And at the same time, you can use your snake to slither into simulations. So then this is where you can literally be in two places at the same time. And then really you can be in like multiple places at the same time, and it actually becomes infinitely complex from there, just based on the spiritual game that is being played and being created, because all games must be created before they're played. But as far as for simplicity and keeping it to even consciousness, subconscious, and unconscious. Yo, this is a very valuable episode. Oh my gosh. Wow. Like, I'm truly creating gold right here. And that's the whole point of building a simulation. Like, once you cultivate your nature so much, it becomes hard crystalline mentality. And now you start to get some fine metals. And now you've got gold if you're really being conductive in tripling your C with your communication. That's what it means to grow old. You're not actually growing old as in decrepit, you're growing gold. Indigenous cultures, we have a lot of gold because we're really old, because we're constantly cultivating our own internal natures repeatedly over and over. When the Spaniards and all the Europeans, I'll just say Spaniards specifically, are obsessed with consuming our gold, is because they're obsessed with consuming how we have created minerals and conductive material from the inside out by being the caduceus, by taking our snake into our tree repeatedly. This is why the Bible demonizes and hates snakes so much, because the European white Freemasonic type mentality people who wrote it, they just hate the idea of having to connect with themselves. So they want to demonize then the idea that snakes are good, because a snake is going to teach you how to connect with yourself. So because white men in general hate connecting with themselves, the people who have spread white supremacy across the world, the people who have consumed and cannibalized indigenous cultures across the world, because they hate connecting with themselves, they're going to hate an animal that reminds them to connect with themselves. That is then the weird subconscious deep reason why after me fasting for literally 19 days, my TikTok gets banned as symmetry. And then I'm here communicating in a totally different way than I would have if it didn't get banned, right for our 19th episode, and then our 20th, and now our 21st. So life is just a wave that I am riding. That's where it's like, I'm not attached, yet at the same time I learn from being attached, because if I'm not attached, then life doesn't matter. And that's the point. We have to project our feelings into the space that we're in so that we can care about it, and so that we can feel like the things here matter. That's the whole thing with your consciousness, and projection being perception, of course. So you are using elements, like you as space. You are the space. You experience yourself as a spirit playing God. And when you play alone, you are in full control. So when you play God, like everyone is playing God, because the fact is you as a spirit have to create your imagination because you want to play. So your version of playing is different than my version of playing. That's how I know we're not both extensions of one God. Like, we're both definitely different spaces with our own individual imaginations, because I do not have the same idea of play and joy that you do. The whole point of us creating the universe is that we realized from being God, playing alone in our own space, that we didn't feel like doing that anymore. So now we're using Lucifer. Okay, so Lucifer fell from heaven. The Bible's just about how we fall from our spiritual spaces into the astral realm. It's literally like taking a dive into a pool. Literally. Like, you just see the astral realm, you're like, are my feelings dense enough? Are they low enough that I feel like not being in control of my own circumstances and connecting with chaotic spirits outside of myself? If I feel like doing that, I will take a dive into the astral realm and sink into one of the simulations in which now gravity is a thing. Literally. This is why the lighter you become through fasting, you can fly, because truly everything's underwater. And when you're really spiritual, you realize you're creating the feeling. Like, you are not the body walking on the water. You're the spirit creating the body and the water. And you're just observing your body walking on water. So that's what it means to be God. Like, God, the idea of God is that it's a spirit who's in control of everything. And you as a spirit are in control of everything when you're alone with yourself. And that's all it is. So the moment you don't feel like being alone with yourself, you use music, you use a heartbeat, you use the vibration, you use the number 2 to be Lucifer and create light. You become Lucifer, the light bearer. Now you're using light to become a human. And now the human is communicating all of its ideas, all of God's ideas. The human is a solution to God being alone with itself. And the human can only communicate God's ideas because the human is connected to Lucifer, or else it wouldn't be able to feel like connecting with God and communicating God's ideas. So that's the point of why your feelings are supposed to motivate you to achieve your thoughts. And this is the whole thing with like whiteness and blackness coming together to make color. As far as God being the whiteness, Lucifer is the blackness, and then together they make humans. And now every spirit in the universe is using their internal God and their internal Lucifer to communicate what being a human means to them. So then this is where everything is projection being perception. Literally, every single person is communicating what being a human means to them. This is why slavery in America has been able to be such a thing for so long, because white people are able to create the idea of what being human means to them. And being human does not include the indigenous peoples that they are constantly cannibalizing and putting blackface on to create a music industry off of, for whatever reason. And then that's just where, of course, it becomes a whole weird cycle, because the fact that the people who are eating indigenous peoples are saying that those people aren't human, but they want to believe that they are what they eat, so they'll put on blackface to create the music industry, and they'll keep doing blackface to this day. Means that white people are literally explicitly stating that they agree that they're not human, which is why they are what they eat, and they'll eat animals. And they love eating animals. America's obsessed with consuming the flesh of animals. So, hey, everything's a circle. That was before any past life stuff. Chase's awakening for years was being in love with the circle and creating symmetry out of that, actually. That was like the big reason for naming himself Symmetry as a rapper. Was like, oh, circles, cycles, balance, nature, climate change, seas. And then, yeah, fasting, boom, became lit. So, shout out the circle. Shout out cycles. And shout out you as a spirit, realizing that when you connect with yourself, all you can do is be psychedelic forever. All you can do is just cycle. Cycle in your feelings. Cycle in your internal waters. And project that outward to create the universe with everyone who's doing that as well. But the fact is, that's all you're going to be doing forever and ever and ever and ever. Is cycling through your internal waters and projecting out how you do that with others. And then when you project out how you do that with others, you then reflect how others are doing that with you. And now we're building the universe. Now we're building memory. Now we're building a bigger body of water that allows all of us to connect even greater. And that's the importance of spiders. I love spiders. Spiders are like all up in the tree. As far as like, we have the snake, we have the tree, we have the bird. The spiders are all up in the tree. All like just all up in there. Look closely, you're gonna see a lot of webs. All right, a lot of time weavers. A lot of 8-dimensional energy in this 2-0. Because we're in heaven. We're in heaven as we show that this tree, this mind, is the expression of one spirit. Tahuti Trismegistus in this case. So you, as space, are completely alone inside of your own circumstances. And what you have been doing for lifetimes is connecting your circumstances with other spirits so that you can start to make more sense of your life. Because nothing happens alone. Literally, God happens alone. Everyone's God alone. So we all like do create life from being alone. This is the symmetry. Okay, so we got to find the right way to correlate the words here. Because God happens alone. Everyone is God when they're alone. But life doesn't happen alone. Life is when multiple gods come together and they agree on living one experience, where now we can all be human. Again, this is why music powers life, water powers life, Lucifer powers life, light makes life literally possible, and light is only ever going to express how psychedelic we are as we cycle in our internal waters. So that's what air is, that's what the human is, that's where now we're all different shades of light cycling through our rainbows. So the astral realm, you see a rainbow, like that's literally the astral realm. So there's the light. Light is God, right? Like we have the light, the pearlescent just shining out of the crystalline structure, like pure God, like boom. The moment you see a rainbow, that means that light has hit water, and that is what the universe looks like. Boom. Now the universe is literally infinite rainbow watery colors, infinite lights, because that's the feeling. The feeling itself is this whole container of infinite possibilities. So the spirit has created an idea of itself. That's one specific light. That's the pearlescence. And then it has created its feelings. That is the darkness of all possibilities. And the moment this pearl light hits its darkness, hits its deep, dark feelings of all possibilities, of making something matter, now we have infinite rainbows. And all these infinite rainbow lights then settle into the structures that we can look at and see colors today. And now we can talk about it based on how the spirit has consistently communicated its pearlescent light into its soul to create these hues of man, to create all of these communications that are able to build structures to stabilize its space. Because that's the point of why God makes humans. God makes humans so that they can build structures to then worship and stabilize the ideas that God wants to get out. And now we have every religion. Boom. See how every religion takes from Hermeticism? I mean, you can Google all that. But that's like a lot of Googling. Okay, so whatever. We can keep it simply symmetry, but if you want to get into all the details, of course, because I know I'm just Chase Clarence Calloway for so many of you, and it's gonna take much more digging to see like how has Hermes actually influenced the world. Best believe all these religions here are using my stuff. It's the point of me being the messenger of Mercury. I literally get called away to share this wisdom. So this is why I get summoned to realms and realities, to literally do what I'm talking about with you, build a body with my mind. And this is how I as a spirit build bodies with my mind. Everything that you get when you're tapping into this symmetry and attending Always Ascending Academy is about how you can build a better body by building a better mind, by connecting with yourself even deeper as a spirit. And then that's the whole point of psychedelic water fasting. You connect with yourself even deeper so that you can get even heavier and hold weight that allows you to expand and contract and become even stronger. See, like, this is all esoteric fitness, baby. That's the point of us in Greece, in Olympus. That's me as Hermes, as a gymnast. That's why Spider-Man is riding my wave. I love him. I love Spider-Man. It's all about mental gymnastics. See how Spider-Man constantly has to lie to maintain his life? That's why I can't live that kind of life. I don't like lying. What? I don't like lying. It's not fun. It's like, what's the point? What is the, like, and I get the point. Because, I mean, I get the point. I've lived lifetimes. The snake is the lie. The wisdom of life is that the moment we believe we are the bodies, we are lying. So, right now, if I say I'm a bird, you would tell me that's a lie. For me, it's not. Because internally, I am a bird. Internally, I am actually way more of my bird energy before I project my mind into a body that looks like a human. But because life is the lie, the moment I share my truth, like, hey, I'm a bird, you're like, that's not true. Because to me, the lie, is that you're a human based on what we've all collectively learned, or whatever my projection is of you. So this is the balance of life. This is why you are whatever you want to be. But if you really are that shit internally, like if you really are truly what you say you are or feel like you are, it's going to show in your body. It's going to show in your snake. It's going to show in your S. If you are truly the spirit that you say you are, it's going to show in how you speak yourself into existence. Sizzle, baby. Symmetry. Speak yourself into balance. Because then at that point, I mean, everything's just communication. All right, I've just shared so much here. This is like such an infinitely valuable episode. All these episodes are wild, and they are all building on each other, clearly. Especially here with our ST, you. You are the spirit, and you are experiencing yourself as a mind. And the animal that the mind is most correlated to is the bird. That's why I, as Tahuti Trismegistus, generally sport a bird head when I'm artistically and astrally expressing myself. It's about me getting to see the web of the universe. And that's coincidentally, non-coincidentally, why I named my bird Web, my first pet. And actually, it was literally Web that came to me in that trip and showed me big time how these corporations and the industry were trying to work through this Ralph man, Blaine. There we go. Different name. How they were trying to work through Blaine to get to me, which is why I had to cut that off real quick and in that inconspicuous way. So, very silly. I hope he's well. It's all about you connecting with yourself versus connecting with others. Because the whole wisdom that the universe showed me there was that his water, everything going on in his life, would inevitably spread to me. And that's all he was saying the entire time. Every time we met up, him complaining about how he can't maintain relationships because the people in his life get abused by the medical industry and the governments that are after him. So literally, it's such a vibration. Like, I haven't even processed it like that until this episode. Now I'm sitting here wondering, am I supposed to even release this? But I am. Because the point is, I'm the synchronicity, everything, freedom of communication, happening in perfect timing. It's all lit. And really that. Because I don't ride the frequency of fear. I don't ride like that stuff. No. So that's where when he was super fearful of the guy, and then the guy came out and recorded us, I could observe that, and I could observe how he became even more fearful because he was already sussed out before. And then it was just like, all right, well, clearly just based on observing the fear in someone else, it's not intelligent. Like, that's the point of listening. As I said, strong men don't project all the time. Strong men know when to project. Keep it with the S's. Strong men know when to speak, and strong men know when to be silent. In that moment, I was silent and listening to these spirits speak. Because the spirit operating that man's body, yeah, I mean, that was super sus. It was so uncomfortable. And I observed the uncomfort, I just didn't feel it internally. But this is why, again, it's so important to listen to spirits outside of yourself and truly not just project out your ideas. Because you never know how another spirit truly feels until they're consistently communicating themselves to you. Like, the whole point of feelings or emotions is that they cycle. They're water. They are the psychedelic that make life possible. The true psychedelic that makes life possible is water. So it takes waiting in a connection with a spirit and hearing and communicating, interacting, connecting with all the words, all the earth that they expound from their air to actually catch a vibe of how the spirit feels overall and how the spirit overall cycles in its emotions. So that's where if I continue to connect with him, I would manifest some very horrible, whack, catastrophic situation in my life just based off of principle, like just based off of physical principle. It's not about me projecting super strength, like, let him come, I'll keep spending time with him and do, like, nah, bro, like, that's not how life works. So that's the point of Spidey sense, right? Like, Spider-Man isn't just like not going to react to his Spidey sense. This is why you should always connect with yourself and respond to your intuition. This is why your gut feeling is really important. This is why your gut feeling is kind of everything when it comes to instinct and survival and your ability to ride a wave. Because your body is your snake. Your body is your seaman. Your snake and your seaman are one and the same. When your dad shoots his sperm into your mom, he's shooting his seaman, his seed, his snake into your mom's womb, into your mom's garden, into your mom's soul. So now you can come in as a spirit and use both of these materials, 50% of your dad, 50% of your mom, and communicate your way into a body. I literally can just explain how you got born. Boom. And that's why when you look at your skull and your spine, you just look like one big seaman, a seaman. You're a snake. So we're all snakes. We're all individuals looking at our own imagination in that way. And so when we seek to connect our imagination, all we can do is project out our imagination when you're a snake. And that's all we're doing when we're speaking. That's why, what I'm doing right now is me using my snake ability to speak. So the more you speak about something, that's you in your snake energy in general. You're sizzling. You're creating steam because it's all about chi. You're creating air. And now you're using your ability to project to slide your way into realms and realities, which is the point of turning 18. Realizing who you are before turning into S. And then realizing, snap, alright, S is unsustainable. Let me go T and gain some ST ability. So now I can realize you. Now you know who you truly are. Once you use your snake to connect with your own soul and create your own fruits. Because the more you connect with yourself, you're only forced to realize who you truly are deep down. And then it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And really, when the bigger you get as a spirit, the more room you have to fight yourself. So that's the catch-22 of becoming more and more intelligent. The bigger soul you get, the heavier it becomes. Literally. That's why my soul's been crying, while my mind's been flying. But it's lit. With such a heavy soul, I build pyramids out of that shit. I build structures. I build Mercury. That's the point of me taking my soul, channeling it into Gemini so it can materialize through Virgo, and now spirits can connect with it in a Taurus type way. Because that's just how my zodiac chart turns out. As far as my Gemini being my ascendant, that's how I communicate. My moon being my Virgo, that's how I reflect or connect. And my sun being my Taurus, that's how I project and stabilize a projection. Because that's the point of the sun. The whole point of us creating the circle, creating any light, is that we are stabilizing our projection. Because whatever we're creating is literally a projection of our imagination, whatever light we're shining out from our individual space. So that's why you are your own son. And then you have like the Father and the Son, because you as God created the sun, and like that sun is now shining as your individuality, but there's still the Father, which is again you, but you as a spirit are not God, as in you are not even your imagination of yourself. You are not how you perceive yourself. You are not your own fire. You are not your own desire. You created this to express yourself, but that's where you as a spirit are now learning about who you are based on your desires and how you connect with your desires as you connect with other spirits in whatever shared world you desire to be aware of. Because the fact is, if you're aware of anything outside of yourself, that's because you desire to be aware of something outside of yourself. So you're now in the deepest part, the desire. You delved into the astral realm, sunk to the bottom, landed on Earth in a simulation, and now you're standing upright. And now gravity is pulling you down to Earth, because the whole thing is you feel like being here so deeply it's a low vibration. And now, welcome to the V. So this is why it's important to truly like not be scared of death, because you can't die. As in, your life will never end. It will just transform into something else, because you as a spirit are creating your life. You as a spirit are the infinite God of your own story. And because you want your story to involve other spirits, now you've created a situation, a simulation inside of the universe where you can write your story with other spirits. And now nothing's a coincidence, everything's a synchronicity. You listening to this is not a coincidence, it's a synchronicity, because we've synchronized it from outside the simulation so that it can happen right now. And now we can reflect upon our creations as spirits experiencing ourselves inside of the situation that we're simulating with elements and numbers. So you are literally whatever you want to be. I, as Chase Clarence Calloway, am Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl is basically the fusion of Tahuti Trismegistus and Hermes thrice great. So when you look up Thoth, you look up Tahuti, you see the ibis. That's my bird nature, and that correlates to my earth element. So when I'm expressing my earth self, that's me in my Tahuti mode, and I resonate with the bird energy for that, because on earth I feel like a bird. I use my mind to fly and see how everything's connected so that I can relay messages and build structures in that way. I'm building pyramids from the top down. When I'm in my Hermes mode, that's me as a snake, because actually everything is underwater. And that's the whole wisdom of the universe and air in general. So birds are swimming, and really everything like is contained inside of snakes when we look at simulations being snakes eating themselves and cultivating nature inside of that. So this is where Hermes, being the snake, is correlated more to my air element, because Tahuti, being earth, is about practical stabilization, and Hermes, being air, is about that ultimate flying communication. So like snake dragon type mode. And that's the point of the caduceus, having two snakes, and then me having the wings on that so I can fly around. So these two aspects of myself, when I combine them to become symmetry, that is Quetzalcoatl. That is the plumed serpent man with all the feathers. And I'm just, combining my animal natures. So now I'm a bird snake man, and it's lit. Because the wisdom here is about navigating realms and realities. As I've shared, the snake is super awesome, because the snake is a spirit seeking to communicate and connect with others by expressing its imagination. So then that's where there's infinite wisdom inside of that energy. and learning how to bend that in on yourself and actually create something sustainable from that. And then the bird is the energy that's all about flying high, being as close to nothingness as possible, being as light as possible, so that you can see how everything's connected, and then sing songs that vibrationally facilitate and harmoniously help further connect the spaces that you already see are connected. Because that's the point of bird songs. When we're getting deep into birds, whatever. Like, they're not just singing for nothing. So by combining the snake, this land animal, that's actually a water animal, it exists in like the lowest and highest atmospheres. And the bird actually exists in the equilibrium. And like, that's just a really cool metaphysics of how I've synthesized Quetzalcoatl to express more of my spirit and build everything in America here before it all got colonized. And of course, the man is the fact that as spirits, we're ultimately just getting to the number 5, which is a family. So this is why the man is supposed to be all about the family. The man is a family man. The man manipulates reality. He manipulates physical reality, physical reality, 5-cycle reality. That's why the man hand, the hand has 5 fingers, because we're all about manipulating physical reality to serve our God. So us as spirits, we create nature. We experience ourselves as animals first. And once we can gain this greater awareness of what it means to be these animal natures, we can then manipulate ourselves to become men. And this is just our ultimate idea of God. Literally, that's what we're living out right now. Like right now. We're all living out what our ultimate idea of God is, and we're all trying to make that as relatable as possible with each other. And it's led up to this collectively, us being man and having hands that we can use to manipulate reality, to create technology that expresses our imagination. And we're able to judge animals and name them and control them and do all this stuff and act like spirits outside of us don't have feelings, because we're so in our judgmental energy. We're so in our 4-dimensional energy of looking at the 3, looking at the C, looking at the chi, the communication of life, and being like, well, that's not real. Now I'm going to use it to build my reality. What? You're fake. I hate you. Like, how are you going to say that this isn't real so you get to use it to build your reality? If this isn't real, then don't steal it from these people. Don't come colonize this natural space if you're saying that it doesn't even matter, or you're saying that these indigenous peoples mean nothing. Like, why are you using money to enslave indigenous peoples if you're literally just insulting them and saying that you don't need them and that they're Negroes, they're the N-word, they mean nothing to you? What? And then it's just a cycle, I guess, because truly, if they mean nothing to you, then that just shows that, I guess, they mean spirit to you. And you're showing us in the universe how you spiritually communicate with yourself through communicating with these indigenous peoples like this, by saying they mean nothing to you, being super negative and mean to them, while only showing that you need them so much. So much. Like, you're in pain alone with yourself, just based on how much you need us. Yeah, white supremacists, that's the whole point though. Again, we've covered this. White supremacy versus indigenous people. An indigenous person subscribes to no system because they are indivisible from themselves. That's what indigenous means. They go in, so they're indivisible from themselves. I know I'm an individual space. I'm an indigenous space. I create everything from the inside out. Everything I'm talking about here: snake, Ouroboros, tree, bird, fly around, communicate who you are while also using other natures to gather information, and now you're just able to experience yourself inside of this whole simulation, and it's all happening in different ways, and it's all elemental, yet getting channeled in numbers, because numbers are the way that we make sense of the world. Numbers, money, can literally only matter once there is a world for them to actually be projected onto. And of course, when I say numbers in this case, I'm talking about people's idea of value and putting numbers behind it. like saying that a tree is worth $5 versus $500. It's all just projection, because spirits desire to relate on their desire to relate on their want. I'm just trying to use a different word, I guess. They want to relate. There we go. Because spirits want to relate on their desire to manipulate the environment. They will then agree to uphold someone else's idea of how they can do that. And then that's where everything becomes a pyramid scheme. Everything becomes a pyramid scheme. Ideas are pyramid schemes. Life is a pyramid scheme. Because like life is just built from the top down. So it naturally happens like this. The moment you create an idea, you are the one who owns. You're the one who's at the top of that idea. So then that's where everything below that idea can be seen and is ruled by you. Hence why the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill has that all-seeing eye at the top, because it's literally just about you. If you built a corporation, if you build a system of communication, you, as the individual spirit, are the one who can see everything happening inside of that system of communication. So now that's literally you can see all. So when we're using money to communicate and build our lives, whoever we're agreeing to the concepts of money from, whoever taught us how to use money, can literally see everything that we're doing. And especially as we're going more into the digital age, that's like the whole point of people telling us that we should be using money, so that we can only communicate in a way that serves them, because anything that validates the use of money validates a world that they want to manifest and they want to build. So the moment we agree to use money is the moment that we agree that we're going to manifest and build what the people who have us thinking that we should use money to manipulate the world want to create. And that's why climate change has been happening, and why slavery has been happening, and why the genocide of indigenous and quote-unquote black people has been happening. So clearly, the point is, it's a chaotic world out here. Very chaotic. And chaotic worlds are created by chaotic spirits. Chaotic worlds don't create chaotic spirits. Chaotic spirits create chaotic worlds. And it's up to you as a spirit to stabilize your own world so that you can create and increase your ST ability. You can create your own soul, create your own garden by increasing your ST ability. By learning from Chase Calloway's Caduceus, how you can wrap your desire to project your imagination into your soul and build a structure that actually supports what your space wants to do. And that's what it truly means to be hermetic. That's what it truly means to be happy alone. And now you're creating nature that is able to support and sustain how spirits that you resonate with will be able to connect with you. And this is how trees, just all things, grow. It's the most beautiful thing. I'm imagining it visually right now. All the birds and the bees and the bugs come out, connect with their two energy, have sex, bring life. It's very lit. Love being a tree. Alright? And just got to use that snake energy to speak about being a tree and the importance of being a tree. Because so many snakes are just out here dying. They're just slowly getting killed because they don't know how to connect with themselves. So they're, instead of consuming nothing, literally, this is what fasting looks like. When you consume nothing, you're literally creating this Ouroboros inside of yourself, and boom, now you're creating your own soul repeatedly as you're raising your vibration into your true frequency of your God self. But people who are like constantly eating and then all, just consuming things outside of them, their S is unstable and going out. And that results in them being uncontrolled and like still being at the wave, riding the vibration of the reality that they're in. Because that's what it means to lower your vibration. That's why this corporation that has taken over what I and my soul group have built in Teotihuacan and throughout the Americas. That's why they want everyone to eat 3 times a day. When we are fasting, like for us, fasting is super normal. Like my level of fasting is not extreme. I've had to like purge a lot of that, I guess, just emotional witchcraft and projection of other people's ideas into my mind of how my fasting is extreme. For me, this is normal. Not only normal, but necessary, which is the point. So, just another expression of my individuality, my one, whatever. How do I connect with myself like this? It's lit. Show me who I am, and then I'll just fly around and communicate that. And now that looks like this. Me talking about who you are. So I hope this was helpful. You are the space projecting out the idea of yourself and then connecting with it, realizing you're alone in your imagination, and then using your feelings to create the vibration that allows you to vibrate then at a certain frequency that then creates the energy that allows other spirits to support a body that you're using this energy to build. And this is why your body is a bunch of cells that are communicating based on whatever intelligent subconscious blueprint that your subconscious mind is actually able to sustain. Because the fact is, if you're a human and you're able to sustain a human body as a spirit, then your soul, your subconscious mind, has a certain level of intelligence that allows it to facilitate these connections in a way that makes sense for the other spirits that are then making these connections possible. So this is what true health is. This is what true hermetic health is. When you know that you're creating your body. And this is how you'll be able to get through fasts and enjoy them. And be super duper creative during them. So I'm about to go make some art. Connect with myself for a bit. I hope you love you very much. I hope you love yourself a lot. And as you learn to love yourself more, just know that you're awesome. The deeper you go, whatever traumas, whatever negative things you've got going on, just know they're necessary for you to realize, literally, like just actually realize how awesome you truly are. Like all your negative emotions are there for you to learn about how awesome you truly are, so that you can always ascend. Like the infinite individual you know you are meant to be. Like you look limited, you know, you're in a body, but like you didn't come here to be limited. What? Did you really come into life to be limited? Nah, bruh. No way. I think not. So I'm about to peace out. Go get this creativity time in. Stay awesome. Don't be scared of the dark. The dark is your best friend. The dark makes all of your light possible. Your feelings make your thoughts possible. Your woman makes your man possible. So connecting with yourself is the best thing that you could ever possibly do for the entire universe. So that includes your personal universe for your soul, as well as all the souls connected to you, which is the universe. Much love. Mwah. Mwah.